You're looking at a star here, and yes, I find dog images in stars. Our dogs, our pets, our dogs, our family members, when they passed, their souls went up into the stars because there are dogs in all these stars. And it just happens to be a dog in it. But in every one, I see a dog. This one I think's obvious. This one, we got an eye, and it's nose and snout. You gotta choose God. And if science and different things are getting in the way, then I encourage you to realize most science is pseudoscience.
Of course, we've got to watch out for that pesky pseudoscience, haven't we? Now, I am acutely aware that many of your Bibles might have been missing the Gospel of Rover, the space dog, but at least now we know the truth. So thank you to this gentleman here. And of course, that's what this channel is all about, finding the truth. And today, we're going to continue with that, and we're going to learn the truth about the stars from the Christians of TikTok. Who's next?
Now listen up, because this finna be crazy.
Yeah, it's not so often I agree with her, but this time.
See, what y'all don't know is stars are actually dancing glimpses of light, interacting with the water above the firmament. See, when God made the firmament, he divided the waters from which they were under the firmament and the waters that was above the firmament. Why you think the sky is blue?
Well, I could explain to you exactly why the sky is blue, but I think everybody watching this will agree with me that it's probably not worth it.
See, I'm finna show y'all a video of someone zooming up to a star with their phone. See, those colors that you see coming off of the stars are based off a wavelength interval and frequency interval. Now listen to that word I just said, frequency.
Yes, we all heard it. You said it beautifully. You are obviously a truly talented woman. The next step, though, will be convincing us that you understand what it means. And I don't quite think you nail it when you give us your explanation of where the stars come from. She obviously understands that light of different colours has different frequencies. And she's about to show us that sound has frequencies. And then the conclusion she draws is one of the most bizarre, batshit crazy things I have ever heard.
The color of the stars that keep on changing is based off a wavelength interval and frequency interval. Now God said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He said, let there be light, and there was light, creating light with the sound, vibration, and frequency of his voice. The Word is God. He created those same stars using the frequency of his voice.
Now, if you were watching that and you thought, I've got no idea what this lady's trying to say here, honestly, don't be hard on yourself. It's absolutely not your fault. What she's trying to say is stars give off light, light has frequencies, sound has frequencies, so therefore sound creates stars. It really, really was that dumb. But we've got to remember, we aren't dealing with normal science here. We're dealing with TikTok Christian science. And we've got to remember that normal science that we're used to, most science
is pseudoscience.
Yeah, most mainstream scientists couldn't tell you anything about the dead dogs floating in space or the magic star creating sound waves. I feel like we're really making progress here. Who's next?
Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. What you can see here is, of course, a lot of distortion. And that's because the wind is blowing on the pool of water that's reflecting the light.
Now, this is an interesting one. We've got a guy here called Phuket Word, who is a flat earth researcher. If you don't know what that means, it basically means he finds it really difficult to understand stuff. He's got a dog bowl, which is so filthy no dog should ever drink from it. And because it's still full for that reason, the sunlight is reflecting off it and forming some kind of out of focus blur on his ceiling. Now, surely he's not going to suggest that that's what the stars are, just reflections of water on some kind of firmament. In fact, I know he's not going to go on to say that. He won't.
That pool of water, or the dog bowl really, is in the sun. So the sunlight's reflecting off of it and giving us this lovely pattern on the ceiling, or firmament, if you like. Perhaps the stars above a stationary level Earth are simply that, where the sun is now shining down on a body of water somewhere further away from our current location, and that reflection is bouncing back up onto this ceiling.
Yes, of course, he did go on to say that, didn't he? I think we all knew that was inevitable. So are the stars dead dogs in space? Are they magic sound waves? Are they reflections from dog bowls on Phuket Word's ceiling? Or are they something else?
The stars are actually angels in the firmament.
Well, I suppose it was only a matter of time before one of them said that, and we'll get into it. But before we do, if you subscribe to the channel, I promise you I will bob round to Paquette Word's house and I will clean his dog bowl for you, put all our minds at rest. Anyway, back to this guy here. He says that the stars are angels, and you know what? Out of everybody I've seen so far in this video, he is the most convincing, and I know that because he has obviously done his research and he knows what stars are meant to be, at least according to mainstream science.
When I found out what the stars really were, like 2.5 years ago, and they weren't planets, they weren't galaxies.
You see, he knows that stars are not planets or galaxies. You know, he's really done his research. I mean, to be fair, that's probably only about as impressive as knowing that a banana is not the same as a PlayStation 5, but still, he's not wrong, is he?
When I found out what the stars really were, like 2.5 years ago, and they weren't planets, they weren't galaxies. This is a shot from someone on an airplane. And he zooms in on this star here. Okay. Look at that. Hold on. We'll get there. This, you see? What is that? That's not a galaxy.
And he's right again. He's on a roll. That is not a galaxy. And I know, like we said before, that's only as impressive as maybe pointing at a tree and saying, you know, that's not Michael Caine's left sock. But he's still correct.
Stars are angels. Angels are stars. This is Ezekiel 10:12, and Ezekiel's having a vision of the glory of God. And right now he's talking about angels. And he says their whole body, their backs, their hands, their wings, and the wheels were full of eyes all around, the wheels belonging to all four of them. All right, so hold on. Let's see what that looks like. Look at that. That looks like a wheel. Sure looks like a wheel.
And I can't fault him again. It does look a little bit like a wheel. So he is so wrong. He has gone a full circle and he's always right. It is crazy. Now, this next guy I think has tried to copy him by learning a bit of science. It's perhaps not gone as well as it could have.
So the mainstream narrative says that this is nothing more than a small sun powered by hydrogen, gas and petrol.
I don't know what's more absurd, the fact that a star could be a dead dog in space, or that it could actually be powered by petrol. I don't know. Or that this man obviously can't tell the difference between something that is moving and something that only appears to shift in the frame of a video because somebody's moving the camera.
They all look differently and they move differently. Some of them move in a way you just don't understand what it could possibly be.
Now, as much as I'd like to stick around and listen to more of this guy's wise teachings, I do agree with him on that he probably doesn't understand it. So let's move on.
When you look up at the stars in the firmament, you are seeing the power of your mind, because that's where the power of your mind comes from. These are mental astral beings.
So this is a new one. The stars are astral beings who are mental, and they are here for a specific purpose, and that is to turn us into gods.
They are gods. They are entities and creatures. Their work is to look down upon us and give us mental virtues, spiritual virtues, and to transform us into gods.
Now, this video has given me a lot to think about for sure. We are learning a lot about the stars, but I have saved what I think is the best till last.
Let's talk about the concept of a star, what it is, who it is, the gifts, and the curses that come with it.
Now, you did hear him right there when he said who stars are, and that is because stars aren't only, you know, dead dogs and angels in the sky, but they are also things that can physically travel to Earth.
So stars are obviously points of light in the night sky, but stars are also a being that comes to Earth that already has transcended duality. These beings are also sometimes actually linked to the consciousness of a sun or a star that exists somewhere in the universe, which means that they have a naturally high magnetism and are natural born alchemists because of the nuclear fission that they already know how to do on a soul level.
That is some top level bullshit right there, delivered with a really straight face. The idea that stars are people on the Earth walking around with nuclear fission happening in their souls. Well done, great delivery. Now, I've got a question. If people are walking around with nuclear fission in their souls, surely you will be able to see that, wouldn't you? Or feel the effects of it?
Sometimes these people will actually physically glow when they are in a high vibrational state.
And that's it. The straw that broke the camel's back. I can't put up with any more of this bullshit on a Sunday morning. I'm done.